Hey everyone, today I'm going to review my entire Angry Birds plush collection. Now this is not a complete collection, but I just like to show off all of my Angry Birds that I have so far. So let's begin. We're going to start with the Eagles. First up we got the Mighty Eagle from the Angry Birds movie. And he makes sound.
I see all and know all. What are your names?
And here is the original Mighty Eagle. Now, just before we review all the other ones, this is not going to be in order. This is all going to be random. So, yeah. We're going to start off with Bubbles. He is the orange bird and the youngest, I believe. Next up, we have version 2 of Hal with the closed beak. Next up, we have the Stella Plush, the older Stella. Next up, we got the new Stella from Angry Birds Stella. Next up, we have a rare Chef Pig, and he makes sound still. Next up, we have Easter Chuck. Next up, we have Baby Red. Next up, we have a custom silver plush. Next up, we have a dog toy red bird plush. I don't know. Next up, we have one of my favorites, Puffed Up Bubbles. And he still sort of makes sounds. I'll put him up here. Next up, we have the original version of Hal with the open beak. Okay, let me scoot up a little bit. Okay, next up we have Terrence, the giant version. Here. Next up we have Angry Birds movie Matilda. Next up we have Valentine's Day Matilda. Next up we have one of my oldest Angry Birds plush, Chuck. He is my oldest plushie and my very first. Along with this one, Red. These two are the oldest in my collection so far. I had those two when I was like 5 or 6, I'm not sure. But they're old. Next up we have one of the Minion Pigs. Next up we have Icebird. Next up we have a limited edition Wreck the Halls, I think, Bombird from the Angry Birds season. Now this is a bootleg, but here's Rio Blue. This is a bootleg. I don't really have that many Angry Birds Rio. So, yeah, I only have 2, which is that one and Marmoset, which is official. And he makes noise still. Next up is this girl bird from Angry Birds movie. I think her name is Potentia. I'm not sure. And if I'm right, then I don't know how to pronounce it. Next up, we have one of my customs, Spinning Billy. Next up, we have a Bluebird from Angry Birds movie. We have Easter Bluebird, or the Blues. Next up, we have one of my favorite characters, Willow. I'm not sure if this is a bootleg or not, but here's one of the hatchlings. I have more, but like I said, it's going to be out of order. Here's Dahlia. I think that's how you spell it. Next up, we have I'm not really a fan of Star Wars, sadly, but I forgot his name. But he's Star Wars Redbird. Next up, we have a 10-inch Chuck that makes sound.
There's a new happiness exhibit at the Museum of Happiness.
Let's set him back there. Next up, we have another dog toy, which is a Bombird holding a candy cane in his mouth. I'm not sure. Next up, we have another limited edition, Recta Hall's Matilda from Angry Birds season. Next up we have a giant 4-man pig plush, or Grandpa Pig. Next up we have another hatchling. Next up we have a 10-inch Chuck. Next up we have the blues, well, one of the blues. And hold up, I need to move some things around. Hold up. Okay, sorry. Next up we have another hatchling, which is the green one. Next up, the female redbird. I think her name's Ruby. Next up we have, I think her name's Gail. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think her name's Gail. Correct me if I'm wrong. Next up we have another bluebird. And here's the other one. So yeah, I do have 3 bluebirds. Next up we have King Pig. Next up we have Cupid Pig. Next up we got Devil Red. We have the Angry Birds movie Chuck. We have Christmas Blue. We have a Minion Pig. A hatchling green bird. We have another purple hatchling. I'm not sure her name again. Next up we have Angry Birds movie Red. Angry Birds movie Stella. Another Minion Pig. A 10-inch Ross plush. Next up we have these custom eggs from Angry Birds. And my own custom slingshot. Hold up, I gotta move back a little bit more. Next up we have Bomb. And you can actually set like some birds up here. So yeah. Next up we have a Angry Birds movie Blue. We have Luca. We have a 4-man pig. We got Postman Pig. Next up we got Corporal Pig. Next up we have another Baby Red from Angry Birds movie. We have a bootleg Matilda from the Angry Birds movie. Next up we have a limited edition Recta Hall's Redbird. Next up we have a dog toy antler pig plush. I'm not sure what you call it. I think it's antler pig. I'm not sure. Yeah. Next up we have another Minion Pig. We have another hatchling. Next up we have Matilda. Next up we have Angry Birds movie Bomb. Next up we have another bomb bird. And it's different from this one because this one's not as soft as this one. Next up we have another hatchling. Okay, next up we have Poppy. Oh, here's one. Here's a custom Angry Bird plush. We have Professor Pig. Now this was an old King Pig plush, but I cut off the crown and I gave him glasses. So that's Professor Pig. Next up we have a 10-inch Corporal Pig. Let's set him over here. Okay, next up we have Angry Birds Star Wars Stella. I think her name is Princess Leia Bird. I'm not sure. Because I don't really play Angry Birds Star Wars. Next up is Christmas Red. Let me put him over here. Next up we have Stormtrooper Pig. Next up, we have Frankenstein Bombird. Oh my god, he won't stand up. Okay. Next, we got another hatchling. Okay, next up, I think his name is El Porcador, or Fat Pig, I'm not sure. But in the Angry Birds tunes, he's called El Porcador. Next up, we got King Mudbeer, or Leonardo, or Leonard, whatever you want to call him. Next up is Wizard Chuck. Now his hat broke a little bit, so I have to pin it back together. But yeah. Next, we got Christmas Bombird. We have another dog toy, which is Matilda as apparently Frosty the Snowman. I don't really know. Next up, we have a Valentine's Day pig, and I call her Patricia. I don't know why. It's just, I just call her that. I don't know why. Next we have another Angry Birds movie, Blue. Now these are the last two, which is Darth Vader Pig, and the last one is Christmas Matilda. Now let me just get up. This is my entire Angry Birds collection, and this almost takes up my entire room. So, this is all of them.